Hi you guys, welcome to my channel Expressively Fee. Thank you guys so much for tuning into today's video. So in today's video we are going to be talking about shadow work. Shadow work itself is a very complex, deep, personal, controversial topic. So even though I would like to go deep on this topic, I'm not going to go too deep. I'm going to try my best to keep it as surface level as possible. But I just feel called to talk about shadow work in my own perspective, even though as well there's many videos on shadow work. And by the way, before we get started, I do want to say, as you guys can see, I am outside. Please forgive me for any background noises or distractions, okay? So who exactly is your shadow self? Well, your shadow self is a part of you. You cannot run away or get rid of your shadow self. You may can hide your shadow self for some time, but your shadow self will always come out to find you. Your shadow self is those parts of yourself that you may deem as unacceptable, right? Unlikable. It is those parts of yourself that you may have rejected of yourself or others have rejected of you. Your shadow self is bitterness, jealousy, self-sabotage, procrastination, depression, sadness. It's also those inner triggers, those inner emotional conflicts, right? It is also negative thought patterns and so forth. The list honestly goes on for who your shadow self is, because we're all different people. We're all meant to have different things and experiences, different challenges. But those things that we experience is what forms our shadow self, specifically in our childhood. Now, what exactly is shadow work? So, shadow work is a form of healing, okay? When you're doing shadow work, you are truly diving deep into the deep-rooted ingrained, suppressed emotions, problems, childhood traumas, wounds. And you are peeling off the layers and unleashing the beast within, okay? You are going into the unconscious parts of yourself, of your soul, to become consciously aware of those things that have caused you that pain and that trauma, right? Shadow work is honestly so essential and so needed, and I honestly cannot stress shadow work enough, because the whole world needs healing right now, you know? And this is why I feel called to talk about it. So you're probably wondering though, why exactly is shadow work important for me, for you, you know? Why would I want to go back in time to feel these things that has caused me pain? Why would I want to go back and accept the fact that I didn't receive the love I needed as a child? Why should I go back in time to forgive that person that has, you know, cheated on me or, you know, did whatever they have done to you? In all honesty, I can honestly say I felt the same way when I began my shadow work. I began my shadow work about 3 years ago, and it was not easy. And I'm gonna be 100% honest, when doing shadow work, it is not easy, which is why many people run away from their healing. Many people rather sit in their trauma then heal and elevate in their life. When you're healing, you are elevating, you're transforming, you're growing, you know what I'm saying? And to keep in mind, this bird has been making so much noise. Sorry you guys. To keep in mind, we are currently all going through a transformational period right now. It's like during this transformational period, it is calling for you to put a death to the old way of being, old way of thinking, believing, okay? Being. And also a death to the old you, because the new you is ready to be rebirthed. But how can it be rebirthed if you are still holding on to the past? We have so many unhealed adults, okay, walking around. So many lost souls that will be easily manipulated, okay, easily distracted. And we're in the times where we're giving the tools, we're giving the information, we're giving all this amazing things right now to change our life. And In order for you to change your life, you have to heal. You must go within and release those things. Otherwise, you're going to get left behind. Right now, as we see it, the world is splitting. And when I say splitting, I mean the vibes in the world right now on this earth is raising up, right? And if you're not on that frequency, the vibration of where the world is going, you're going to get left behind. And by that, I mean you're going to be left in a sunken place mentally. You know, it's a lot of spiritual warfare going on right now. And if you don't know yourself, you will fall for anything. All right? And that's why shadow work is important. Shadow work is also important because you're breaking generational curses when you heal yourself. Whether you're healing your health, your finances, your mental state, you know, your lack consciousness, your lack mentality. You are healing the way you look at love, right? And it also, it only starts with that one person. And that one person just might be you. Now, when you are breaking generational curses and spells and karma, people gonna look at you crazy. Like, why are you trying to be so different? Why are you trying to do things so out of the box? And this specific person may be called the black sheep, the weirdo, the outcast. And it may not even be your blood family. It can be even your family that you consider family, like your friendship group or whatever, right? But the thing is, they'll follow suit. They'll begin to understand and see what you're doing. You don't have to force somebody to heal because they will follow you after that. Healing yourself as well will allow you to uncover these parts of yourself, right? And when you're uncovering parts of yourself, you are finding self and self-discovery during that time. You are getting to know your likes, your dislikes. You're getting to know and understand your wants and your needs. You will understand your blockages, your obstacles, your burdens. And you'll begin to dissect these parts of yourself so that way you can gain that clarity, gain that awareness, gain that acceptance, right? And take accountability for your own actions even if you were not in the wrong. When you're finding self-discovery as well, you begin to realize the experiences and lessons you have faced has helped you develop this character, this person you are today. Because without that, you know, that experiences, who would you be? You know, who would you be? So it's like without that situation, right? How would you know how to love or what love is or means to you? Without that failed business, how would you know what it takes to have a successful business? How would you know what discernment is or what trust is or what real friendships look like without those experiences? So when we're doing shadow work, we start to realize and develop that the understanding that we have the inner wisdom and guidance and knowledge within us from these experiences that we must take to our next destination. And along with that, you are rediscovering parts of yourself that has been lost, along with discovering parts of yourself that you never knew existed. So not only are you bringing about the darker parts of yourself to release these things, you are finding the light within yourself, within your soul. And those lighter parts of yourself could be things you've been needing, such as your self-esteem, your confidence, your strength, your intellect, your intelligence, whatever it is that is, whatever characteristics that is you. You'll know how to manifest things that you truly want in your life, because when you begin to heal, you begin to know your worth. And you begin to then know what you truly value in life. You probably think you know what you want, but you really don't until you heal. You know, as children, we have these or develop these belief systems from our parents and our teachers. Unintentionally being taught these things, we develop these ideologies of how this should be, how this and that should be, when that's all being shattered in front of our eyes right now. Okay? And not to bring up this or go off topic, but we are in the age of Aquarius. And this age of Aquarius is the air sign. And we all know air can bring in swift change. So this air energy is bringing change to a lot of things. It's breaking down the molds, okay? Like I stated in my very first video, you are going to be exposed to yourself of so many different things that you have been burying, that you have buried. I also want to say, you know, we're not only healing ourselves for ourselves, we're healing ourselves for our children's children, our generation, okay, our family, for our peers. This is not just about us. And that's something we have to all learn to understand as well right now. We're going into a more humanitarian type of time. And if those people are not going to follow suit or not going to, you know, you got to do what you got to do. But it's not just for you. I also want you to understand, you know, life will, it's a quote that says life, or will I say God, you know, will shake your world upside down and see if you will pick your pieces, put the pieces back up, put the puzzle pieces back up together to see if you will, you know, if you will pick yourself up and do what it is that you're supposed to be doing. And that's when the admiration pours in from God. That's when the admiration pours in from life. And the blessings will then come in. We have to, or you have to learn how to also be uncomfortable with yourself. To get comfortable, you have to learn to feel your feelings, especially to my men out there. Men are taught that vulnerability, crying is weakness. Having emotions is weak. And that's something a lot of men have to face within their shadow. And vulnerability is honestly a strength. It's something that's needed in all areas of many of our lives. Something else you must learn to face is the fact that you cannot play victim. Okay? We all have played victim in our life at some point in time. And playing victim, what does it do? It keeps you stuck. It keeps you stagnant. It keeps you in a place that you know you're not supposed to be. You know you're supposed to be somewhere else. You know you're supposed to be, you know, in a different place in your life. But yet you're still holding on to victim mentality. And that's something you must learn to face as well when you are doing shadow work. Also understand, it's all polarity. There's always going to be an opposite to everything. There's always going to be a light and a dark side. You know, sun up, sun down, night and day, negative and positive. But it's all about cultivating the two to gain that duality within ourselves, to find that balance, to then be on our way to finding some self-mastery, which is something we all crave and want in our life. And once you have that self-mastery, you'll be able to understand and learn how to navigate through these lessons, which are blessings in disguise being thrown at you. You'll know how to cut through all these things that are coming your way, all these tests, because a lot of things, most things in our life is a test. You'll begin to see how the laws of life and the laws of nature play out. And I want to say as well, it's not easy when facing your shadow self. You will have to learn to be alone, to sit alone, to think alone. And you will want to be alone. You also have to be passionate to yourself, be kind, have open ears and non-judgment when facing your shadow self. Now, there's many ways to face your shadow self, but I want to give a few of mine really quickly. The first is going to be meditation. And when doing meditation, of course, you are sitting in silence to listen to those thoughts that are coming up. So that way you can say, okay, this is what's been affecting me, right? And then the next one is going to be journaling. Now, when you're journaling, you want to really get messy with this, okay? You want to let everything out in the open. Really write down what you're feeling. Write down what hurt you. So you can go back in time and look at these things and see if you've healed, you've grown, you've released it. And the next is going to be, again, non-judgment. Learning to not judge yourself by your thoughts, by your triggers, but learning to question and ask yourself why. Why am I reacting this way? How can I do better? How can I think better? You know what I'm saying? So, I think there's more I would like to add, but I think that's how I'm gonna leave it here. The question I have for you is, will you face your shadow self? I dare you to face your shadow self. I promise you it will be worth it. The journey of healing is everlasting. We will never stop healing, but we'll know how to heal. All right, you guys. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you have a great day, great night, great year, and you really heal your shadow. You face your shadow. Remember, life is like a school. If you do not pass that test or pass that grade, you will repeat. You will constantly find yourself in habitual cycles, repetitive patterns, meeting the same kind of individuals in different bodies until you learn. So let yourself fonder, wonder, cry, allow yourself to explode, and then I want you to accept, acknowledge, and forgive. There's always a breakdown before a breakthrough. And as the Mayans would say, there is destruction before there is creation. So, what will you create?